We will now begin with our keynote address ceremony, where we have our Honorable Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Shri Kiren Rijiju, as the chief guest. May I now invite Dr. Vidya Yeravdekar.
So thank you very much, Dr. Gireja. Dr. Gireja Mahale is actually leading this 2 days conference. She's the head of the Symbiosis Center for Emotional Wellbeing. Honorable Minister, sir, Shri Kiren Rijiju, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. And we're very happy for even accepting that the Ministry of Youth Affairs has collaborated with Symbiosis International University for this very important conference on raising resilient youth, in fact, a conference on dealing with mental health issues. Our Chancellor, Dr. S.B. Muzumdar, sir, is also here, and he will also address us. Our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajni Gupte. We have faculty members from all parts of the world, and students mainly from all parts of the world, including Indian students of the NSS and NYKS, which is a part of the activity of the Ministry of Youth Affairs. So thank you very much, sir, for accepting this invitation. I don't need to introduce Symbiosis International University to you at all. You have visited us and our campus, and I still remember this visit and your wonderful speech to our MBA students. You are a young and dynamic minister, and you really inspire this younger generation, and therefore it's just ideal that you come and address this conference, which is on such an important issue. Sir, you know that Symbiosis International University has been a health promoting university, and we try and promote physical, mental, and spiritual health through our various programs. However, with COVID and this pandemic, and even before that, Dr. Muzumdar sir told us to establish a Symbiosis Center for Emotional Wellbeing, which will support the students and the mental health of students. And we have, through this SKU, as we call it, counselors on each and every campus of Symbiosis. And you'll be surprised to know the kind of work that these counselors are doing. And the students are so happy that just last year's statistics shows that even when everything was online, there were almost 20,000 plus students who actually had online access to our counselors. So this has been a great relief, because these counselors listen to them, they can speak to these counselors, and what parents can do, actually, these counselors have been doing. What we want from you, Minister Sir, is that we need to set up a policy on mental health nationally. And I think if your ministry can drive this, because this is very, very important for the youth of our country, because they are the Gen Next, they are the ones who are going to drive economy. And, they need to have a sound mind, and we need to also listen to them. So with these few words, I once again welcome you and thank you very much for accepting our invitation. I know your schedule is busy. I know how extensively you travel. And I also know that you're not keeping so well as what you'd otherwise keep. So thank you once again.
I now invite Dr. Rajiv Yeravdekar, Dean of Faculty of Health Sciences, to say a few words. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, good morning. Honorable Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor, Academia, and my dear students from across communities and geographies. Honorable Minister, we have had a very good series of discussions yesterday, which will flow on into today, highlighting the global concern of mental health. It is now well established what we erroneously believe, that students do not face mental problems, and mental problems were erroneously believed to be problems of the aged. But unfortunately, the COVID has exposed what is well known in public domain today, era of VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And the online teaching has been a disruptive reformer, ? Or a disruptive factor in this trend, which has dampened the acquisition of social skills by the students, loss of peer interaction with disastrous consequences on the mental health of the students. And as Dr. Vidya mentioned, the Symbiosis Center for Emotional Wellbeing has, in its own innovative approach, tried to prevent, treat, and mitigate the consequences of this mental derangement. As a health promoting university and as a member of the International Consortium of Health Promoting Universities, Symbiosis International University strives to ensure even the mental well-being, and we've set up, besides the Symbiosis Center for Emotional Well-being, a specific department of sports, recreation, and wellness, understanding that mental well-being or mental health is a fallout of these complex interactions between physical health, social health, spiritual health, and other dimensions of wellness, as outlined by Dunn way back in 1916. We therefore cry for an attention for an integrated multi-sectoral approach between your ministry, the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health and Family Planning, and health at the being a state subject, being implemented at different states, and a concerted and a consensus appraisal of the deteriorating mental health status of students, and therefore a multi-pronged strategy. No single strategy alone would work in isolation. There has to be a symbiotic approach. And your ministry, under your able and dynamic leadership, would be requested to coordinate these efforts to ensure a healthy Gen Next. Thank you so much, sir, for making it despite your hectic schedule. And we would look forward to hearing your words of wisdom in taking this mental health policy to be adopted by higher educational institutes forward. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rajiv, sir. May I now invite our Chancellor, Professor Dr. S.B. Muzumdar, sir, to give his address. Thank you, sir.
Namaste, Kiren Muzumdar speaking. On behalf of the University and India, very hearty welcome. Today's chief guest, Kiren Rijiju, Minister for and Sports, Dr. Vidya, Chancellor of our University, Mr. Gupte, Vice Chancellor of our University, Dr. Rajiv, Dr. Ruchi Jaggi, Dr. Nirja, Mahale, students and faculty. I am really happy, sir, that a young minister like you is heading the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. And therefore, I'm sure you will appreciate and empathize the thoughts which have been expressed in this conference. Kiranji, our Symbiosis International University is an international university where foreign and Indian students study together, stay together in hostels, and play together on playgrounds. This university looks after not only the physical health of students, but it also looks after the mental health of the student. And that is the reason why we have established a separate and strong department of emotional well-being. Today's seminar is being held at a very appropriate time, and the subject of the seminar is Raising Resilient Youth from University to Community. I remember one gentleman asked one question to Surgeon General of America, Mr. Dr. Murthy. What was that question? He asked Surgeon General Murthy, what is the biggest disease in America today? And Dr. Murthy answered, not cancer, not heart diseases, but it is isolation, which is the biggest disease in America. And I am afraid that it is going to be the biggest disease even in our country, and especially even among our youth. It is indeed a very paradox that all of us are technologically connected, and yet each one of us feel isolated. And applies more to our youth. And sir, when we think of youth, the only idol that comes to my mind is our Vivekananda. And it was Vivekananda who stressed great importance on youth. He said that it is only the youth who can build a nation. And all over the world, it is the youth who constitute the engines of growth and development. Our country is very lucky to have the largest number of young youth between the age of, below the age of 25. And therefore, we are the youngest country in the world. And therefore, this youngest population constitutes a great workforce which will enable us to reap the advantages of what we call demographic division. But this can happen provided they study well, provided their physical health is good, but more importantly, their mental health is also good. I'm afraid that especially during Corona or even otherwise, our students are suffering from many mental disorders, anxiety, frustration, depression, and ultimately leading to suicidal thoughts. Kiranji, you must be knowing that every day 28 students commit suicide. It's a very painful thought, but it is a fact. And therefore, it is necessary that all universities in the country should pay considerable attention to the mental health of our students. It is in Corona especially, sir, that the mental health of our students is of great concern to all of us. I very often say that Corona has produced three important things. One is simplicity. We want bare necessity in our life. Second is spirituality. For the first time, we are thinking about spirituality, about philosophy, about concept of Almighty, etc. And the third and the most important product of this pandemic is uncertainty. And Kiranji, it is uncertainty that causes mental disorders, especially among our youth. Uncertainty regarding examination schedules, uncertainty regarding their future, uncertainty regarding their future careers, and so on. And therefore, we have organized a special seminar. And I'm glad that scholars, teachers, and researchers from not only from India, from all other countries have come together to discuss this particular issue of mental care among youth from different angles. I will tell you one anecdote. Sunil Dutt was once Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports, and I happened to meet him. And he said, Dr. Muzumdar, I am sorry that some people think that Indian youth are useless. I said, why? They think that they have bad habits, they drink, they roam here and there, they do certain things which are unwanted. Sunil Dutt told me that Dr. Muzumdar, our youth are not useless, they are useless. And that precisely is the right question which we should ask ourselves. Have we used our youth less? Because ultimately, it is the youth who are going to be the building blocks of our country, country's future, country's prosperity. And therefore, I'm glad, sir, that you have come personally to bless this particular seminar. And I hope, as Dr. Rajiv rightly said, this particular webinar should not lead to merely discussions and conclusions. I feel that this webinar should lead to some concrete steps. And as a Chancellor of this university, I request you to take personal interest in chalking out some policy decisions regarding the mental health of students on campuses. With these few words, sir, I once again welcome you. I thank you for your time. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor, sir. Your words are truly always inspiring. I'd also like to make a small announcement here that this conference is being hosted by Symbiosis Center for Emotional Wellbeing, Symbiosis International University, and our joint partners for this conference are Empower, Mental Health Initiative of the Aditya Birla Education Trust. Now I take the opportunity, and it's an extremely honor, I consider it an honor to be able to introduce our Honorable Minister, Shri Kiren Rijiju, who is the chief guest of our keynote address here. Shri Kiren Rijiju is currently Minister of State for Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, and a Member of Parliament, Lok Sabha, representing the Arunachal Pradesh West constituency. Mr. Rijiju is a lawyer by education, but has worked in social work for many, many years. He has a versatile personality with diverse interests like writing, reading books, sports, traveling, and in fact was the best athlete in school as well as college. He was adjudged as the best young parliamentarian by the media during the 14th Lok Sabha. He was recently designated by United Nations as Disaster Risk Champion for Asia Pacific region due to his work in the area of disaster management. He is the first Indian to be conferred with this honor. He is a member, Khadi and Village Industries Commission, Government of India from 2001 to 2004. He has been a member of many national and international organizations and selected as one of the Asian youth leaders by Asia Society in Youth Conference held in Tokyo 2008. Namaskar, sir. We now invite you to give your address. So,
thank you very much. First of all, my greetings to all the esteemed members who have joined in this very important online seminar going on, the 2-day seminar. And I'm feeling a little unlucky that I'm unable to be there in the campus, beautiful Symbiosis campus, because it's very beautiful. Last time, I think in 2015 or maybe 14 late, when I went to Symbiosis, I really liked the campus. It's extremely picturesque, beautiful location, and the surrounding is very serene and very appropriate location for a university of this class. And it's good for the students to have such ambience, such atmosphere in which they are pursuing their academic career. My greetings to Dr. S.B. Majumdarji, who has been a father figure for everybody. And he has a very good thought about how the youth of India can be engaged, utilized properly to make India a great nation. Of course, the person who has made me come over here, Dr. Vidya Iravdekar, she has been always very, very proactive and always, taking the front seat, not only for Symbiosis, but for so many other areas. Dr. Rajani Gupta ji, Dr. Rajiv Iravdekar ji, the Dean, and all the learned faculty members and the students. I think this particular subject which we are discussing is extremely important. It is not only confined to or endemic of any particular region, but it has become a global phenomenon. And I always see that when a country progresses or when a society moves to a next level of development, the mental issue becomes stronger. When you are not in that stage of development, when you are still very primary in your approach, when the lifestyle of a nation is between primary and tertiary, then the mental issue will be less an issue. But when you go to service sector, when you go to more of a higher studies, when you go to very high-tech level of development, so definitely the mental issue will become more and more acute. This is natural. So the mental issue has been more acute in Japan, US, or Scandinavian countries, or any of the Western countries. But you will less know about this thing in Africa or in Asian region. But as India progresses, India is also experiencing this particular issue of mental problem, especially for the students. And today is, an era where the competition is so stiff. So the students are bound to be in very, very heavy mental pressure to perform. On this regard, I feel that Symbiosis International University not only hands over a degree certificate, but it imparts an education in totality. Symbiosis has this great culture of giving real knowledge to the students. Because I also believe that merely a paper degree doesn't lead um, to a great success. There are many more elements which require to achieve something. Even if we have 100% literacy rate in India, still India can be a poor nation. There are countries which are, the literacy rate may not be that high, but the country is very developed. So it's the output, it's the productivity of the people which makes the country rich, not how much you know, how intelligent you are, or how much you know about the subject. That is not enough. I have this very critical belief from the very beginning, from the childhood days. That is why you have seen that some of people become very successful despite not having that kind of very, very high degree. But that is not a standard rule I'm saying. This is something we need to understand. So, while you are doing extremely good in your academic excellence, at the same time, you have to understand life in right perspective. And within that, the love for the nation, ready to do anything for your country. That spirit has to be alive and kicking all the time. I come from Arunachal Pradesh. Everybody is patriotic. That doesn't mean that the people of other states are less patriotic. But in my state, every morning, right from our childhood days, holding of national flag, Jai Hind slogans, and to think and pledge of doing something for the country, it's part of the daily life. But unfortunately, when I come to cities, these are all diluted. And during my long, this political life, I have seen many people have started getting this negative thought. Their action are not actually helping the nation becoming a great nation. Fortunately, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has re-galvanized the mood of the nation to make India an Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant, and to make India a leading country in the world. So there the role of the youth becomes extremely critical. Our youth force is the largest in the world. Now this demographic dividend should not be in any way turned into a burden, because if they are not employed, if they are not utilized, if they are not provided opportunities, this youth force can become a destructive force, or they can create hurdles in our pursuit to become a great nation. So, how the youth of that particular period of time in history think shapes the future course of that country. Now, today's youth will have to decide where India stands in next 20, 30 years. If today's youth determined to take India to a new level, India will go there. Because if we perform, we will succeed. If we don't perform, we'll perish. So this is something I think the universities like Symbiosis International University understand very well. This particular subject which has been discussed is, I think, I'm sure you must have discussed in detail during your deliberation, and you would be further discussing. I'm sure you'll come out with some papers and all. I would like to see how you have discussed and how do you intend to tackle these problems. Of course, the learned professors, teachers, they will be giving their very qualified ideas, and we will all, be benefited out of that. So today we need to understand that we have different youth organizations and youth forums in India. First of all, India is divided into rural or urban, or you can say educated, non-educated, or you can bracket it into different categories. And within the government also, there are various organizations. Like we have NCC for the defense purpose. They should understand about the defense and strategic issues. We have Bharat Scouts and Guides, which comes under Ministry of Youth. We have NSS, which has close to 40 lakhs youth volunteers associated with NSS. Then we have NYKS, close to 35 lakhs youth associated with NYKS. So these are on their own the largest youth organizations in the world. No other countries have this magnitude of youth organizations. We have, because of our sheer size of population, our organizations are big. And there are other smaller organizations in the state level also. And we have Green Corps in the Ministry of Environment. There are some other smaller organizations in different ministries and different state governments. What I'm thinking is we are making a new re-look into the entire youth structure in our country. I personally feel that the entire youth of India must be channelized and put them into one platform rather than creating too many organizations and working in too many fragmented organizations. It's better to put them under one umbrella. Although we may have different names, but it's better to put the youth of the country into one single platform. Even if not single platform, then there has to be some coordinated mechanism to ensure that, suppose if Prime Minister has launched this vaccination drive, the entire youth organizations should drive it. If Prime Minister has launched Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, it is the duty of every organization to do it simultaneously, rather than waiting for separate orders from different ministries. Then we tie up with different NGOs also. So in the same manner, if so much of the resources we have, if we utilize in a concentrated manner, the objective will become clearer and the power of our youth will become more precision. It will be more target oriented. It will be more result oriented. So that is what I feel, that we are drafting a new youth policy. I hope in next few months' time we should be ready. In this new youth policy, since we are discussing about this mental health and emotional well-being, I think this subject is something I would suggest the panel members in the drafting committee. Of course, we are consulting many people, some UN agencies as well as some professional agencies and some universities and all. So I would suggest that in the new youth policy of India, this student mental health and emotional well-being can be looked into it so that we understand how to tackle this in totality. Now, in this youth policy, let me just make a point that all the previous youth policies of India have talked about what the youth should be doing, what is the objective, what are the main agendas of the youth of India, what are the targets. And there are various activities and various programs being drafted in the new youth policy. Now, what I intend to change a little bit is, first of all, when we talk about the youth policy, we must know and we must understand what is that character of Indian youth we are looking for. What is an ideal definition of Indian youth? I certainly understand that an American youth or a Japanese youth or Indian youth, we have a different character. We don't need to copy the Americans the Europeans or the Japanese or any other developed countries. The mistake which we do, normally what I have seen is, since the Western superiority has got into our mind, we think anything Western is superior. And our people, especially the intellectuals, try to become more liberal than the Western people. Our people try to know more about America than about India itself. Some of our youth will know better about London, but they will not know about Pune. They will know about all the states of US, but they will not know all the states of northeastern states of India. We are so much, into this toxication. We are so much into this Western definition of lifestyle. Of course, I agree there are certain things which we cannot change, because India is only one major country where our growth and education system is based on a foreign language. I agree these are something which cannot be corrected now. We have well past the corrective phase. We cannot. But we can still maintain our values, core values. So when I talk about an ideal Indian youth, I would like to see an ideal Indian youth who will be proud of Indian heritage, Indian civilization, good morality of Indian spiritual teachings. We are actually a Vishwa Guru. Of course, we do not dominate the world in economy or in military or many things, because that has not been our agenda. But we are definitely a Vishwa Guru in many things, especially you see the yoga. I am right now the Ayush minister. I mean, like the International Yoga Day is coming, and every country is looking up to India. And the Ayush, this medicine, is also becoming very popular. Indian culture is going global. So many things about India is becoming acceptable abroad. That means India has a huge potential to become a global leader in true sense, not by military domination, not by coercion, but by our love, our affection, the Indian way of taking care of everybody, like Vasudev Kutumbakam is the outlook. So that is how I see that when an Indian youth is defined, then it must be very clear that what should an Indian youth be like. And then we talk about what should we do, how should we make India great, what are the agendas for the future, climate change, environment, science, arts, sports, fitness, everything will come. So let me be very optimistic that we are achieving that new youth policy. And this new youth policy will be something like very close to or extension of the new education policy. Now, what I like about new education policy, especially I had a discussion with the education minister, my colleague, Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyalji, and I have repeatedly told him and his team that the new education policy must give a new dimension to fitness and sport. We are lucky that our Prime Minister is giving so much of focus on fitness and sport. That is why India is in the cusp of becoming a great powerhouse in sports. Now, I will not talk about sports right now, but let me assure you that we are becoming a better sporting nation. During our discussion with the Education Minister, I clearly said that the old mindset and the concept of our society that sport is an option, it is killing our youth. Last year, the UK Manchester University Chancellor and the whole team came, and they also shared with me a very interesting story. Their university was going down in the ranking. Then they shifted their policy and they focused on sports. Admission, the priorities and everything was focused on sports. And they were back to the top, not only in UK, but globally. Many people in India do not understand this reality. Universities are the hub of sporting talent. All the major gold medalists in the United States, they are mostly from universities only. The Olympic medalists are from universities. In UK, they are from universities. But here we are so much engulfed in academic achievement that we forget the actual essence of life. That is why we have started Khelo India University Games. When we started last year, Khelo India University Games, the basic idea behind starting this game is to ensure that the Indian universities must be full of vibrancy, full of life. University definitely has full of life, but without sporting events and success, the university campus will not be that lively as we expect. This time, I have announced the next Khelo India University Games will be held in Karnataka. I have handed it over to Jain University. Of course, the state government and central government will have to coordinate, but we normally offer it to one university as the host university. Of course, funding is done by my ministry and the state government partially, because it's quite expensive, because it's of high standard. It's no more those all days university level championship. This Khelo India University Games is of world class. These are live telecasts. These are of international standard, and it has a huge potential to draw all the top talents of the country. At the same time, we have launched this Fit India movement. Now, all the universities in India must take the leadership role in Fit India movement. If you are physically fit, you are likely to become mentally fit. If you are physically and mentally fit, you are going to be a perfect human being. Sometimes we ignore all these important aspects. Fit India movement was launched with a clear intention of making it a people's movement. So Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji had launched in 2019 on the National Sports Day on 29th August. That is the day when we award this Arjuna, Dronacharya, Khel Ratna and all. That's National Sports Day. So the sports stars are already fit. But many people think that only sports stars should be fit. खिलाड़ी ही तंदुरुस्त होना चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं है. खिलाड़ी तो तंदुरुस्त होता ही है. हर हिंदुस्तानी को तंदुरुस्त होना चाहिए. हर भारतीय को शारीरिक रूप से, मानसिक रूप से फिट होना बहुत जरूरी है. हम अगर फिट नहीं तो फिर देश तो फिट हो ही नहीं सकता है. According to various statistics, close to 70-75% Indians do not do any kind of exercise, especially in the urban areas. We definitely have issues of poverty, malnutrition in rural areas. But जिसके पास पैसा है, जो खाना खा रहा है, जो अच्छा खासा ठीक ठाक है, वो तो फिट रहे कम से कम. Obesity has become a big issue in the cities now. But in last 1.5 years, close to 2 years, the Fit India movement has gained certain momentums and the fitness level has gone up. Of course, the pandemic has created certain problems, but from various sources, I have calculated that the fitness level of India has gone tremendously upwards, which is such a phenomenon. In Australia also, Australia is a smaller nation, but when they found that the obesity and all these problems happening there, they launched 10 steps a day. Then every Australian will walk or take 10,000 steps every day. Consciously, subconsciously, we also do, but we don't take that much of steps. 10,000 is okay. Everybody can do it. You just keep walking from office to house to room, bathroom, and all you calculate. That means you burn certain level of calories. You become fit. In UK also, and the women of UK were becoming less fit. So then they launched this slogan, "Yes, she can," which means the woman in UK also can be fit. And you see how the sports has transformed the life of the people in the United Kingdom. They were relegated to some 13, 14 position in Olympics. They have climbed back to top 3 now. These sporting success, fitness level, these are direct reflection of the people's character, people's level of success in life. These days, you see most of the corporate leadership are very fit. I don't see any corporate leadership these days unfit. But you just see some 20, 30 years back. You see in the parliament, members of parliament are also becoming fit. When I came as a very young member of parliament, I saw our members of parliament mostly big belly and, they are not fit. But now they are becoming more fit. The conscious level has gone up. So these are, such a thing, an investment which you don't really have to pay, but your return is 100%. So in universities, this kind of activities must be a core subject or core activities of any university. And Symbiosis University is a known university, and Symbiosis University can do lots of Fit India Run, Swachh Bharat, Jal Sanchay program, many things important for projects and programs launched by the government of India. This can be taken a lead role by Symbiosis. Now, finally, I really appreciate and support the initiative taken by the Symbiosis International University and Empower to draft a policy framework to support student mental health, and also to provide recommendations to the state governments and other higher educational institutions. This is a brilliant initiative, and I extend my full support to this draft policy of Symbiosis International University and Empower. I think this is a wonderful, wonderful initiative. And I'm also so happy to learn this now. Dr. Vidya was mentioning about the Center for Emotional Well-Being in the university, which is specialist psychiatrist and counselor on campuses to work with the student and the staff with their career, personal, and emotional concerns. I think this is a brilliant initiative taken by Symbiosis, and I'm sure some other leading universities are also doing it, and they should make some collaboration with Symbiosis University. It's a good thing to share the experiences and collaborate. Any good efforts must have a collaboration to have the magnified impact. This is very important. So I'm very lucky to be invited there here in the seminar. But as I said, I wish to be in the campus. Pune has been a great city for me. And of course, two months back, I was there in the Army Sports Institute and for the launching of the Khelo India Center of Excellence there in Pune. But I could not go to this Symbiosis University site. This university location is slightly away from the city, slightly hilly, very beautiful. So those who get to live in the Symbiosis International University campus are very lucky people, because you live in such a beautiful campus. I also should be lucky someday being there for at least some time. Thank you for inviting me, and my best wishes for the conference and for all those who are deliberating on this occasion, all the experts, faculty members, the parents and the students. Very important for them. You share your experience and you learn the experience from others. My best wishes to everyone. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. It has been an absolute honor and a privilege to have you, sir. You have truly, your talk has been truly insightful and informative. I thank you very much for extending your support for our initiative on drafting the policy framework along with Empower. And I thank you, and we are truly humbled by your kind words. I now invite our Chancellor, Madam, Dr. Rajni Gupte, ma'am, to convey her vote of thanks.
Good afternoon. Respected Dr. S.B. Muzumdar, the Chancellor of the Symbiosis International University, our esteemed keynote speaker, Honorable Minister of State for Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Shri Kiren Rijiju, Dr. Vidya Yarodekar, the Pro-Chancellor of the Symbiosis International University, Dr. Girija Mahale, invited speakers from across the globe. It is my pleasure to propose a vote of thanks today. Honorable Minister, sir, we are indeed honored to have you amidst us today at this very important conference on mental health, resilient youth from university to community. The COVID pandemic has indeed brought forth the crucial role of mental health. We recently actually had a conference on internationalization of higher education. And this was a theme that came across very strongly, especially in the student session. The students who spoke at the conference mentioned very prominently that during this year, they strongly felt the need for someone to be able to talk to. And I'm glad that our Center for Emotional Wellbeing has been a great support to them, with about 20,000 people being supported over the whole year. I'm also very happy to mention to you, sir, that we give great importance to sports along with health. As a health promoting university, we have also had the 10,000 steps a day, walking 10,000 steps a day, where roads and steps on staircases are colored in such a way that the students read a message as they walk, they take the steps. We also have a campus where we do not allow vehicles to ply. Therefore, students use cycles to go to their classes. In fact, Dr. Rajiv, the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, was also a part of the Committee on Fit India movement. So we are trying to do very much our bit to help India move towards Fit India. So you spoke very eloquently about how important it is to understand life in its right perspective by giving due importance to the nation. You said that we need to anchor our lives in very meaningful pursuits. And I think this will go a long way in making our youth healthy. Our huge demographic dividend needs to be channelized to achieve Atmanirbhar Bharat. And it is their resolve which will make or break the nation. And in order to be able to do this, organizations such as NSS, NCC, NYKS, Scouts and Guides, and I recently heard about Rangers and Rovers, must all be put on a single platform to coordinate the action to harness the power of the youth. You spoke also about creating a mental health policy as a part of the youth policy, which should be India-centric. We would be delighted, sir, if you can involve the Symbiosis International University in drafting this policy for the youth, as we are doing so much within our university already. You also mentioned finally that focusing on sports and Fit India can also add vibrancy to universities, and this can positively impact mental health too. Thank you ever so much for being here with us today. Thank you also for recalling your earlier visit to our serene campus, and we do look forward to seeing you here again. This vote of thanks would not be complete unless I also thank each of the speakers who has found the time to be with us over the last 2 days, the speakers at the inaugural session, the speakers at every other session. Thank you so much for being with us and for adding value to this conference. We look forward to keeping in touch with each and every one of you. Thank you also to all the members of the SKU team, the IT team, and all the people who have made this conference possible. Thank you very much, sir. We do indeed look forward to having you back on our campus, and I hope you will be able to visit this beautiful campus once again and address the students in person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gupta ma'am. Before we close the session, I'd just like to announce that there were more than 6,000 students on YouTube currently, and many of the students and teachers have joined us on Zoom.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.